Alexa, stop. right. Hello, people. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we didn't have class last week because we had that assembly. And we have been doubling up a little bit. Oh, hold on. Let me get the audio. Sorry, this is so loud. All right. You guys hearing me better now?
Yes, sir.
Right. So yeah, so last week we had the assembly, and it's been a kind of a tricky first half of the semester, because what we've done is kind of had these longer lecture sessions to kind of make up for the clashes on Monday and Wednesday. So the good news is that their other studio lecturer will be coming on board. So now we will start having the Monday and Wednesday sessions. Well, there is still some minor clashes, but one of the major hurdles was to just iron out everything so that we could get another 3D modeling lecture, and we have gotten that, so that is good. So that means we can have more normal lecture sessions rather than having these really long lecture sessions to make up for the fact that we don't have the other two sessions. So that is one good news. In other news, we are now what? We're kind of in the middle of October. So we're getting closer to the end of October, where checkpoint 3 will become due. So that's like the major checkpoint. That's why you had like about 3 weeks or thereabout to do it. So that is ongoing. And what we're going to be doing today, though, is we're going to be doing a little activity that I think will help you guys out, especially with your housing project. How is that going, by the way? Have you guys had interim yet?
No, sir.
That was a yes?
No, sir.
Oh, no, not yet. Oh, so when is your interim scheduled?
Not sure.
Oh, you don't know yet.
No.
When?
Not sure. I'm not sure.
Not sure. Okay. But you guys probably not rushing it because you have perhaps a lot of stuff to work on, eh? How many stories are you allowed to go up for your housing project? What was that? Sorry, my background is a bit
stories,
loud.
Sir.
More than 8.
4 stories, you say?
4, not 4,
Mhm.
sir. 4, 5, 6, and 8.
Okay. I'm sorry. These animals are quite loud. Okay. All right. Well, how many of us? Oh, hey Tara, you have a question?
Yes, sir. So, the presentations have been pushed back for next week.
Yeah, sorry about that. Right. So the presentations, well, I'm in discussions with your other lecturer about that because we're trying to let everything work. We actually were just discussing some schedules in the staff meeting today, but we're gonna need some more. I'm looking on my schedule now. There we go. And we kind of are being pushed back 1 week because of the because we didn't get to the topic. What was it now? 7 and 8 last week. I think we did 5 and 6. Yeah. Here we go. Oops, clicked the wrong button. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's see. Uh, 5 and 6. Topic 3 and 4. Yeah, we are totally 1 week behind. So right, it's not going to be next week. But what that means is that, well, the good news is that, these presentations can only happen in the lecture sessions because the lecture sessions is the only time that everybody has free, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to have to, for 1 or 2 of those presentations, we're going to have 3 presentations in 1 day whenever we start them. So we won't be starting them next week, but we're going to start it the following week. All right, hoping that I don't think there's anything else that's scheduled to kind of push us back anymore. All right, everybody got that?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Now, one of the things that we want to also do, I know that for your major project, you guys have to use the model in place tool, right? And I hope you've been having some fun with that. So remember I said we'll be having some activities that will be going on while you're doing checkpoint 3. And one of those activities we want to do today, what we want to do is I want to actually give you guys some, I would say, pointers or some experience with dealing with residential models. I figure most of us are using Revit. Is there anybody who is, well, not using Revit? Assuming that. Tara, is that an old hand? Or are you not using Revit?
No, sir. I want to say something else. So I've emailed I have sent an email to the, I think the class email
Mm-hmm.
put it into the presentation. So if you seen it, so I can give my response. Thanks.
All right, no problem. Um, also, by the way, also CC it to my UTech email. All right.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. So, okay, let me ask it this way. Those of us who are using Revit to do your studio final project, let's go by the show of hands. Who is using Revit in some way? Nobody? Just Miles? Okay, there's a few up. There's a few. Okay. So those who aren't using that, raise their hands. Are you guys using like hand renderings? What is your weapon of choice? So like Brianna, are you using Revit?
Yes, sir. I'm using Revit.
Okay. All right. Anybody not using Revit? Maybe I should ask it that way. Nope. Okay. Well, then I assume that most people are. I want to show you this model. Let's see. There we go. Ouch. Okay. Let's give this thing a little while to load. It's not there. Oh Lord, where? Oh, that's where it is. Okay. Okay. All right. I found it. Right, here we go. Okay, so this is a pretty, I would call it typical apartment building here. All right. And I've I've kind of just put this together for us just to explore some concepts which will be very useful for you guys, especially when you're doing the housing project. All right. So if we look at this model here, and I'm going to jump over to the presentation board, into this the mirror board, I mean. I'll just put another area here. Right. And we'll call today's topic okay, modular modular beam modeling. So if we take a look on this model here, right? And I'm going to show you something here. Let's get a slightly different view. Let's duplicate this view here. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hide these elements here. And let me just hide these elements here. Let's just focus on the building. And what I want us to look at are some approaches, some modular approaches whenever you are creating, especially residential buildings. And this will be especially useful to you for those of you who are using Revit to do your final project. Now, when you guys are doing your designs, chances are you will have maybe typical units. So let's say, for example, that this unit here is a typical unit, right? Because it's basically duplicated here and here and here. You guys can see that? Let's see if this has a...
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, all right, so that's your typical unit here. And chances are that when you guys are doing your model, you may reuse some of these units in different ways. You might flip it or rotate it and reuse back the same modular unit, but multiple times. So for example, these units are also on this side, but it's just that they are flipped. Forgive me, I'm using the mouse to write, so that's no fun. Now, we build things like this. I guess you guys would have gone through this in studio, but we build things like this to be efficient. So for example, the same window that you may use here, you can reuse it in different areas. You can also reuse them over here. And the same also goes for the physical manufacturing of these windows. I mean, can you imagine if every one of these windows were different, right? Think about the logistics of getting all of those components. Now, it's a similar approach whenever you are doing modeling. And I mean, in the past, I've seen some of you guys when you're modeling where you may, let's go back to everything. Right, so let's turn on the section box. And let's go all the way down to maybe one of these floors. So if we look at this floor, let me carry this up just a bit. Yeah. If I should take a look at one of these floors, you can see the general layout. And I'll orbit it this way. And we can see where, of course, we recognize some duplications. So we already detected that this unit here is a flipped version of this unit here. So what does that mean for our modeling process in Revit, right? I don't know, you tell me, guys. So if you are building out this unit, how would you approach building this unit in Revit per se? Anybody?
Sure, sir. I'd probably just draw the floor plan, or wherever I got the floor plan from. I would make a scale drawing, import it if need be, and then trace it over, and then
Right.
I would either use the architectural presets for walls, and then make the walls first off, and then go from there.
Right. Okay. Right. I get that process. But I'm talking specifically now of the fact that these two units are duplicated and flipped. How would you go about doing this in your program? For example, would you using multiple pens here? Would you draw this unit? Draw the walls, put in the windows, put in the internal walls, then internal doors, and then repeat the same thing over here. Draw the walls, put in the windows. That's what I mean. What would be your procedure in drawing these this plan here?
Sir, just mirror it, sir.
You would mirror it. So you would draw this unit, let's call that A, and then mirror it to form unit B. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. And that's a good approach. So these kind of techniques, you guys would have already started to pick that up from CAD last year if you had to be doing multiple elements. And this is where the computer shines, the fact that if you know that you have these couches and they're going to repeat, well, you just need to draw one couch and then mirror it to go on the other side. Now, there is another level to how we approach this in modeling, and that's the activity that we're going to do today. That goes a little beyond mirroring or copying to make it super efficient whenever we have multiple units that we need to represent in BIM. To do this activity, you're going to need Revit. You're going to need 2022 and above. I hope you guys have 2022. Maybe some of you don't have it. Oh boy.
No, sir. Well, 2020.
And you know that Revit is not even backwards compatible. This always happens, man. No worries. No worries. No. In Revit, we can model units and turn those units into a modular group. And when we turn it into a modular group, then we multiply it. We copy it above, and then we duplicate it next to it. Now, the reason that we turn it into a group is that whenever there are changes, can you imagine having to change a window type on this level here? That would also mean that that window type would be edited on this side. But of course, if we just select this room and mirror it, then those changes are not going to correspond with the other units. So this is why when you guys are creating a BIM model, you're going to try to make it as modular as possible. The same thing that you do in reality is the same thing that we do in the virtual world, right? Now, there are some other tips that I want to show you guys before I let you loose to do this activity. And I want us to just take a little bit a closer look at this model here, because there are some things that I want you to consider, especially that you're doing the housing project. Now, the first thing I'm going to take a look on is, let's take a look on the elevation here. Now, notice the levels that exist here. Kind of zoom out a little. Now, before we even get to the ground floor, which we see here, notice that, well, we don't have a basement, so that is out. Do you guys have a basement in your designs?
Awesome.
All right. So we're going to start from here. Now, top of footing is the first level. Then we have the road level, and we're working ourselves up. Then we have a walkway level, and then we have a ground level. Now, whenever you jump into Revit now to start creating your building, one of the first things that you will set up is your levels. Now, you guys already know how to set up levels because we did that for, I think it was checkpoint 2, when you were creating your footing. So we know that we can create levels which are not necessarily drawings. So for example, top of footing doesn't need a drawing to go with it. The road level doesn't need a drawing to go with it, right? Do you guys understand what I mean?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
In Revit, whenever you create a level, it's going to automatically create a drawing to go with that level. So even walkway, we have a walkway level here. So a lot of times we have a Revit file that maybe has 20 odd levels. And, you know, if you think about it, we only need to have maybe ground to roof deck, well, and side plan. So these are the only levels that we really need. And the rest of these levels are really just for the purpose of referencing to help us to model. So whenever you guys are setting out your model, the first thing you're going to do is set up your levels and then determine what levels do you need to have a drawing for and what levels you don't. So for example, in this case, I don't need the walkway level. Now notice when I deleted the walkway level drawing, the walkway plan, the walkway level still remained in the drawing, which is good because whenever I draw my walkways, I want something that I can reference that level to. But I don't need a floor plan that is just showing me walkways. I'm also going to delete the road level. And I'm going to delete the top of footing. So if you take a look on this now I only have the levels that I really need. So I have the site. And this is my site. And that's fine because in my site plan, I can see the road, I can see the walkway, and I can see the roof of my building here. So I didn't need to have a walkway plan and a flow and a road level plan All I needed was my site plan. But at the same time, when I go to my elevations, I want to be able to determine where my levels will land. So I need to still have a reference point. Now, the other thing we tend to do when we're drawing is, we might start to draw on the ground level. But notice that if you look here, and I'm going to switch to 3D view here. Let's switch to perspective. Now, if you notice in this model here, I do have some walls going below the ground. And yes, this happens in reality because you do need foundations. But a lot of us, when we jump into Revit, we start to draw immediately at the ground floor. Now, as you guys well know, at minimum, you guys are going to remember to mute your mic, guys. Right. At minimum, you guys are going to have a road level, and your walkways has to be above your road level. And then your ground floor needs to be above your walkway. So right off the bat, those are 3 levels that 99% of the time you're going to always need. So that should become pretty much standard whenever you go into Revit to start to draw. Now, if I click on this object here, this is my road, and this is really just a slab. If you look over here, you would see that my road is at my road level. And the great thing about this is, for example, if let's say that you are, I don't know, in a Descript, or you're making some changes to the designs, and you realize that, I think I need to lower my road level. Well, we don't need to click on the road and then change like the height offset. Instead, we can simply just go to our front view, select the road level, which is here, and then we can say, okay, maybe we want our road to be minus 1.5 feet. So when you look in 3D view, you will see that the road is now lowered. Now, I mean, this might be a simple thing, but let's say, for example, we realize that we are going to also have to lower the ground level. So if we're going to lower this ground level, this is also at the, well, this is a terrain, so it is not referenced exactly by a level. Instead, it has points. So for example, if I go to edit my surface here, and I hope you guys remember how to manipulate the terrain, right? You guys remember, right? I hope so.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. So let's say, for example, you have your project and -6 inches. And you realize that maybe a section of your project is going to be a bit lower. So, for example, right, and you can let me turn this on so that you can see this a little clearer. Um, let's forget where you edit this thing. All right, you got to go to massing on sites. There. They always hide that little thing. Let's put that 6 inches. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you can kind of see the terrain that's getting lower and lower here, right? Now, if it turns out that you have points, I'm gonna go again now with, I'm gonna go -7 feet. There we go. And I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but what do you notice is happening here with your walls when you adjust the terrain? What do you notice is happening?
They're floating, sir.
Exactly. Now, this might happen throughout the project, and then maybe you say, okay, I need to select these walls and carry these walls down. But then in a case when you have levels for everything, you can simply select that level, which it doesn't show in perspective view. So let me go to auto view here. All right. I can go to my top of footing level and I can just change that, not the text, but the height. And I can just change that to -8 feet. Now, automatically, when I do that, all of the walls that reference that height is now adjusted throughout my entire project, all right? Let's go back to the perspective view. So now you can see that all the walls go down. Now, I mean, I don't believe that you, at this level, guys, I don't believe that you should be manually adjusting individual elements. By now, I would be expecting you to use these smart approaches to making your model a bit more efficient. All too often, we tend to end up spending all our time in the model, and that kind of eat out our design time or the time that it takes to produce the final output. So this is one of those things, by making sure that we have all the levels set up and each level being referenced, so that we don't have to be individually editing any objects. Now, another interesting thing that I want you guys to see, and I'm opening a file here that I'm going to distribute to you guys. I'm going to drop it on the mirror board. There we go. Now, this model is the very same model that I have just showed you. And I'm going to give you guys access to this file now. And what we're going to do is we are going to put these modular pieces together in a quick and easy way that will get us the full model. Now, if you notice, all of these pieces they are relatively simple. This is all the plan. This is the interior walls. This is the furniture. This is the roof, and this is actually our foundation walls. All right. So these are the pieces that I want you guys to do. And what you guys are going to do is we are going to put this plan together, and you're simply just going to submit to me the Revit file and a screenshot, and that will be our activity for today. But while we're doing this activity, I want us to kind of take note at the way this is done. For those of you who are, especially that you have modular units, I would be expecting that you would use this approach when you're doing your modeling in Revit. All right. All right. So this file, you can access this file. This is a Revit 2022 model. So those of you who don't have 2022, well, I can't save it down, so you guys are going to have to move up. Oh boy. Is that possible, guys? I mean, talk to Mr. Neville. Well, actually, you can just like install Revit because it's free for students. But is it impossible for anybody in the class to move up to 2022?
Sir, I think it's possible, but I'd have to do a lot of stuff like probably uninstall this Revit and then install it from the third-party website to get it from.
All right. What Revit are you using?
2020.
Are you using 2020?
Yeah.
I think that's just the unfortunate thing with Revit, because during the week I was kind of drawing this up so that we could explore this in class, and it didn't dawn on me after it was a bit too late that, oh man, probably some persons don't have 2022, and you know, there's just no way to go backwards in Revit. Anyway, so on the mirror board,
Which piece is that first part, sir?
say again?
That first part we highlight. Which piece that?
That is actually the foundation.
Oh.
So we're gonna put it together now.
Sir, I don't have the mirror link, so you can put it in the chat, sir.
Oh, okay, no problem. I'll also put it in the chat. Oh, my Google Drive is not syncing. Okay, no problem. I'll just manually upload it here. There we go. Where is it? No. Ah. I think I have too much windows open. Finally. All right. There we go. All right. I'm just uploading it now, guys, for you so that you can get access to this file. And then when you submit this, this would be your class activity number 2. right? And we probably will have 3 more. We're gonna aim for 5. Any amount we do, we will just divide that amongst your participation grade, right?
What time do we have to submit this, sir? Because I'm gonna have to get Revit 2022.
Yes, I know. So I will give you guys that doesn't have the Rivet. I give you till Monday.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
All right.
Perfect. All right, thanks, sir. Oh, and sir, regarding the grades for Theodore Lindsay, I'm not seeing them on the system.
All right. Okay, before I check that up, I'm gonna just drop that link here. So this is gonna be class activity number 2. There we go. All right, let's give that a little while to upload. Let's right. All right, there we go. All right. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is to download this Revit file and position the modules to match the design below. All right. And that's this Revit file. I don't know if you remember how this thing goes. On Mirrorboard, it's a little weird. You have to click on it and then you click on this little source button here. Let me make your life a little easier. Let me also just put some text right below that and just stick the URL in that text. There we go. And let's make that a little bit interesting. So download this. I'm gonna highlight this and just put a little arrow to point to the Revit model. All right. There we go. All right, everybody clear on the activity? I'm going to also place it in the chat for you guys.
Yes, sir. Clear.
All right, there it is. All right. All right, let me get the lights. Right, so I need to just grab that file. Now, when you open it, it should look something like this. And well, some of these, if you think about it, guys, this apartment complex that we're seeing here, it just has one unit type, and then it has a common circulation zone. So pretty much this common circulation zone is the only unique part to this entire model. As a matter of fact, if you look at it, let's use that perspective view. Right. If you look at these elements here, they're even also similar. So for example, these three doorways are the same. Now, when you guys are doing your Revit model, anytime you identify something that is repeated, the best approach is to turn it into a module and then use that module many different times. All right.
So basically, for this class activity, we're just like putting these parts together.
Yes, we're basically putting these parts together. Where is this here? All right. I may have to update the link. If you try to download it, it might tell you, just give the link a little while to update. Just give it 1 more minute to update. I'm going to tell you when you can go ahead and download it.
Ready for a one, I said I'm not good again, sir. I already don't know now.
Oh, no, that may not be the right version.
Well, my one can assemble, sir. I don't know.
Oh, no, you see, no, okay. I know which one you got. The one that we're using is the one that is ungrouped, because we're going to go through the grouping process.
So I'm gonna delete it then, sir.
Right. Just let it let it catch up to you guys. All right. Uploaded.
Sir, you need to receive access to download the file.
Yeah. No. Hold on. All right. Try it now. Let's refresh and try it now. You shouldn't have to receive access. But
Sir, could you send it in the chat, sir?
it was, oh yeah, it's the same link. It was probably because I was updating the link, so it maybe never give you the access to download it. So let's try and download it now.
You can still use the one from the chat then, sir. You're not recently.
Come on, you can still use it. It's the same link, but it just has the right file with it.
Alright.
All right. All right. Now, when we're using this modular approach, if I look on my ground floor here, all I need to do is I just need to assemble one unit on my ground floor. So let's say that this was my unit design, and then I had my interior walls. Now, what I'm encouraging you guys to do is whenever you're modeling like this, group your interior walls different from your exterior walls, right? Oh, I think the slab is hidden. I'm not seeing the slab. Oh, right, it is hidden. Right. So if you open the file, guys, you're not seeing the slab. Just use the hidden and just turn it on. Just unhide the category. There we go. Right. At least you have to unhide it for the ground floor. So notice that this is just an arbitrary floor plan, but what I've done is I have placed my interior walls differently. Now, normally when we draw a floor, when we're doing a design, we might do the initial design like this and then start to draw our interior walls. Now, what I'm suggesting you do is, before I draw the interior walls, select all of your exterior walls, and you're going to go up here to under modify after you select the walls, and you see create group, and we're going to create a group, and we're going to call this group exterior shell, typical exterior shell, exterior unit shell. Maybe that's a better name. Now, once I have this grouped, then I'll start to draw my interior walls. Now, we're not going to draw the walls from scratch because you guys know how to do that already. I simply already drew this earlier in the week, so I'm just kind of showing you the process. Now, when you finish your interior walls, you probably want to group all your interior walls, door, and floor. So let's take a look at this here. Oops.
Sir, what did it after create groups, sir, because I lost internet connection, sir.
Right. So what I did, I turned all of my exterior walls for the typical unit into a group.
Yes,
by just selecting them and choosing group icon there. Then, and remember, this is only one unit. Then when I have all my doors, interior walls, this is my closet door right here. And in your case, you might have more details. For example, you might have the water closet. And in some cases, you might have, Well, I would put the fixtures and furnitures together, but it's up to you. But I'm going to put all the interior elements on one group. And I'm going to click create group here. And I'll call this typical interior walls. Now, in your case, when you guys do this, you may already have your walls inside your shell, and that's fine because you can just hold control and select these independently. But for our purposes, I've just kind of separated them out so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. All right, so if I go to my ground floor here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move my interior back inside. So when you look on this plan, it just looks like an ordinary plan, but notice that the interior is a group and the exterior walls is also a group. Now, if I needed to make a change to the interior, I can just select them and I can go up here to edit group, or I can just double click anywhere in those walls. Let's give it a while to catch up here. And once I double click, notice that my screen changes to these kind of tan color. And if you look closely, you will see that the other walls are all grayed out and my interior walls are much brighter. All right, can you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
So what this means is that I am now within the group, and Revit is just kind of changing the background so you know. And now I'm able to manipulate these walls. Now, you know, if it may be tricky to work like this normally, so you might choose to draw your entire floor plan first and manipulate and do everything. And then when you come closer to your final design, then you start to group them out like this. Or you can choose to create your group from scratch. So once you have an internal walls, then you would create that group. All of your grouped elements will still merge with your ungrouped elements. So for example, look at this area right here. These walls are the interior walls, and that's grouped. And then this is the exterior typical shell, which is also a group. But yet still, notice that it still connects. So your walls and everything still works through groups, but it just, you will see the benefit of this in just a couple minutes. All right, then I have my furniture. And notice I have this layout here. So I'm going to just group the furniture as well by selecting it and choose group. And I'm going to say, I'm going to call this typical unit furniture. And I'm going to move this over. Oops. So now I have three groups. I have my furniture, which you can see highlighted there in one group. I have my interior walls, and I have my exterior shell. Now, until now, most of the things here work on one level. So chances are your furniture, if you notice where it says reference level, so every group has a reference level. So my furniture would be sitting on my ground floor level naturally. So would my interior walls, and so would my exterior walls. So I didn't really have to go and change the level for this, for these three groups. However, in this case, this is my foundation walls that I have here, all right? And if you remember what these walls are, earlier when we had that, going to 3D here. Earlier when we had that demonstration of the having walls that go below the ground in case during your design process you need to manipulate the terrain in some way. You don't want to have your building floating above your land, so you should always have a level that goes below the ground level and have your walls go down to that level. All right, so that is what this is. Now in this case, it's much easier to move things as a group than it is to try and select all of these walls and, you know, try and maneuver them in place. So first thing I'm going to do is group this, and I'm going to just do the same thing and say create group, and I'm going to call this foundation, put a shot there, foundation walls. Now notice that I didn't put any foundation footing on these walls, nor these here. And the truth is that you don't need to really, for this purpose, unless you wanted to show it in a section, then you would put it. But I just need to do a model representing my design here. And that model will also serve as a floor plan and give me elevations. I don't need to generate a foundation plan, so I'm not going to add foundation footings to these walls. I'm only going to model what I need. If you guys remember, time is of essence, so you don't want to spend time unnecessarily modeling things. Revit will sometimes kind of force you to do that, so don't fall into that rabbit hole of trying to put every little detail on your model. All right. Okay, so are you guys following me so far? Those who managed to open the model?
Yes, sir. Right after the foundation.
Right. So we just grouped the foundation. All right. All right. Now, the interesting thing about the foundation is that unlike the rest of the model, the foundation is only going to stay on the ground floor, right? So what I would do is I would place my foundation first. So I'm going to go to my ground floor level. And I don't know if you guys can see where the foundation would go. I'm going to go to my move tool here and grab it right in this corner. And I'm going to drop that foundation right, I think it goes here. There we go. So you kind of know that, see that it just kind of drops right in the slot. Now, whenever Revit gives you this orange line here, it's telling you that two walls have intersected together. And sometimes you need to correct that, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it will cause errors in your model. And Revit is very sensitive when it comes to things that overlap, right? So whenever you get these highlights, you can check it out in the 3D view to see what exactly is overlapping. And you can see that it's overlapping in the door. But then again, these are the foundation walls, so they really should not be on the ground level. Now, the great thing about this is that we have already created different levels, so you would want to place these walls on the top of footing, and that should get it down in the ground, so you should end up with something like this.
Sir, hold on a minute, sir. Could you go on the ground floor? Can do it and go up on the ground floor and see where the walls connect again.
Right. So
Connection. Move it, but the connection not really snappy.
right. So you will see this corner right here. This is the corner that you should look for, right? And I mean, it's a little bit of a puzzle, but not too much of a puzzle, right? So you're supposed to use some amount of brain cells to also figure it out, right?
Yeah, man, sir. That's so hard about it.
All right. So notice this level now, I did have to move the group to the footing level because it was on the ground level, right? So remember, the only purpose of this really is just so you have is just so that you have an element going below your ground floor, your base of the model, because usually, remember we spoke about levels, and you don't start with ground level. At minimum, you're going to have road level. You're going to have walkways, because your walkways are above your road, right? Your grass and your earth might be on the same level as your road. In some projects we have a level just for landscaping, but you want to establish these levels and work your way up to your ground level, and then your ground level is what you do your regular floor plans and stuff on, right? So if you jump into Revit and you start with a ground level, remember that there are things happening below your finished floor level, or else you're going to end up with a floating model, right? Okay.
Sir, which level is that again? Sir, which level is that
So
again?
I place this on the top of footing level.
Oh, top of footing level.
Right. Okay. Then now we do have another one over here, but this is the roof of our model. But we're not going to come to that yet. What we're going to do is we're going to now place our ground floor. So if we go to the ground floor plan, here is a ground floor. I'm going to select that, and that will select all three groups, right? And I'm going to grab it also in the same position that I grabbed the that foundation wall. So I'm going to go to my move tool here, and I'm going to grab it here, and I'm going to place it right here. All right, so Revit is telling us that things are intersecting. So let's look on that in 3D. All right. Now, once we are at this point, your model is pretty much complete. And this is where now a lot of us, our computers start to buckle. And I've seen this happen many times. Guys, don't fall into this trap. Now, at this point, normally what happens is that, as we discussed earlier, you would mirror this on this side. So you would end up with the other plan, with the other part of the model here. And then you would copy the entire plan on the upper floor, first floor, then on the second, and then on the third floor. Now, because we have modeled in this modular fashion, what I want you guys to do is, instead of duplicating I'm going to show you this. Let's go step by step. First thing, let us mirror our foundation walls. So I'm going to select the foundation walls here, which you can see. And if you want, you can do this from your plan view. What you will notice though is that when you go into plan, you won't be able to select your foundation walls because it will be below your ground floor walls. What I can do is I can actually hide my interior, and I'll just hide these exterior walls. I don't think I have to hide the furniture. There I go. So I'm able to select that there. I can go to a plan view. And let's try to do it from the 3D view, see if it works out. So I'm now going to go to my mirror tool. All right. And you guys should know how to use these features already. So I'm not going to dive too deep in it. Actually, let's do it from our ground floor plan. I think it's a bit more accurate there. So let's do the same thing again. I'm going to hide my ground floor, and I'm going to hide my exterior walls so that I can see those walls there. Now, if you notice, these walls are actually gray, and if you try to select them, you're going to be unable to click on them. And the reason for that, I'm in the ground floor plan.
No, I'm asking which one are you trying to select, sir?
I'm trying to select the foundation walls so that I can copy it on this side. Now notice if I'm on the ground floor that I'm unable to select those walls. And the reason for that, if you notice, it's kind of gray compared to the other lines. And this is because what it's called an underlay, right? And if you look through your properties, notice there's a category called underlay. And what underlay is saying is that it is showing you the level that is below the ground floor. So in this case, I'm seeing the walkway level and all those levels below the ground floor. Now, if I turn off underlay, if I set underlay to none, then it will disappear because now I'm not seeing the underlay underneath the ground floor. So let's turn that back on to see. I'm going to just put it to walkway. I should be able to see it right. Now, in order to be able to select this, what you can do is Revit by default has some special switches that are in this corner here. And what these switches do is they allow you to lock or unlock different visual elements in the model. So this symbol here is telling us that we are not allowed to click underlays. Notice it has the red X. So what we have to do is we have to turn that off. Let's click it once. There we go. And then right. Then we are now able to select underlays. And that gives us the ability to select this this foundation here. Now remember, this was underneath our walls, so I had to hide the walls And I also had to hide the interior walls as well. Right? So now what I'm going to do is let's try that mirror again from the plan view. And I'm going to find the center line, which is around about here. I'm going to mirror this on this side. And there we go. So if we look back at our 3D view now, you will notice that we do have this foundation wall here. Now, the great thing about this now, guys, is that if there is, for example, any change in our foundation, once we edit the group, this side will also edit, which is awesome. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm going to just unhide. So I'm going to click my unhide here. And I'm going to unhide the external walls, the internal walls as well. All right, there you go. All right, so now let's go back to my ground floor. Let's also unhide for this floor as well. So I'm going to unhide my interior walls, and I'll unhide the exterior walls. All right, so now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select my furniture, my interior walls, and my exterior walls. And then I'm also going to mirror that. Now, here's the interesting thing. When you're mirroring this, notice that we need to mirror it on the center of this wall here. Right? Because the center line is in the center of that wall. Now we know, so you're going to have to now expect that Rivet will give you an error because it's, you know, these two walls are going to be intersecting, which in Revit world is illegal, right? Because the way our Revit works, it mirrors the real world. And oops, wrong icon here. All right, this is my mirror tool. Okay, let's go again. In Revit, it is basically saying that walls should not intersect because they would not intersect in real life. All right, there we go. Now, if we look at that in 3D, we now have the entire ground floor, but yet we only created one typical unit. Now, I bet now you can guess what we're going to do next. All right, so what do you guys suspect we're going to do next?
They're copy the ground floor to the upper levels.
All right. Now here is where you guys need to watch out for. This camera is blurring. You have to kind of. Okay, I don't know why it's blurry. Anyway, so this is the part where you guys need to watch out for, right? When you are creating your models. Usually, student models, when you get near to when your presentation is due, that is when your computer starts to crash and crumble under the pressure. And the reason for that is that normally once you work out one plan, we start to just copy stuff and duplicate stuff. And there is actually a system to how you do this. You don't just copy it anywhere, because you will immediately run out of memory and resources on your computer. So what you need to do is, because we have grouped all of these as different layers, we only need to copy the outer walls upward, because there is no need to copy the furniture and the interior walls all the way up. And naturally, if you think about it, when you guys are presenting, you're not going to show 10 different floor plans of the same thing. You're going to show one floor plan, and that floor plan is going to be your typical floor plan, right? You guys understand this process?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. So because you have separated your model into these modular pieces, you're able to now make your model more efficient. And you don't end up with an apartment building, you know, with 10 units, and all 10 units have 10 washing machines, 10 tables, 10 vases on top of the tables. I mean, that is when your computer really starts to struggle, and the day before crit, it just decides, it just crashes. So you have to start thinking modular from the beginning, and modular also links to efficiency in terms of your computer resources. Okay, so to copy this, what we're going to do is we're going to select both floors, and check this out. We're not going to use the typical copy method. The recommended way to copy these floors is you're going to go to copy, right, which is here. But instead of like using the regular copy where you try to drag, you're going to go to paste, and then you're going to choose paste aligned to selected levels. Now, when you click that, what's going to happen is Revit is going to now give you the option to say what level do you want to paste these things that you have selected. And I'm going to say paste it on the first floor. Now, you notice only the external walls copied, which is fine, because from an external point of view, I just need to show these walls. But from my ground floor plan, I need to show the full block. I don't need to repeat the full block for every level. Yeah,
They can go over that step again for me, please.
Don't worry, there are 2 more floors, so I won't have a choice. All right, so I'm going to copy this up again. So what I'm going to do, make sure you have the 2 external walls selected. Then, once they're selected, you're going to go to the copy icon, which is located here. All right, so you're going to go to copy. And then the paste icon, don't just click the paste icon. You're going to click the lower part of it here to bring up the paste options. And you're going to choose paste aligned to selected levels. Right? And when you click that, you're going to get this dialog box, and Revit is going to ask you, hey, what level do you want to paste this on? And this time I'm going to say, paste it on the second floor. And I bet you can guess what happens again. I'm going to do the same thing. I don't have to click copy again because it's already copied. So I'm just going to go to the paste and say paste assigned to selected levels. And then this time I'm going to paste the what floor was that again? First, second, third floor. All right, so third floor. Now, if you guys are following me, what you will realize now is that you have pretty much a whole apartment complex, and the ease at which your model is flowing is way better than if you had actually attempted to copy all of those details and interior walls for every floor. When you go to your ground floor, you still have your floor plan for your presentation sheets and everything. And you don't need to have a...
Sure.
Yeah?
Oh, the only thing I will advise is that just to put the floor above the one that above the ground floor, so you can take internal shots, sir. Just so you know, see.
Good point. Good point. Good point. Right.
So
Right.
everyone take a perspective or you know.
Exactly. That's a good point. All right. Now for the roof that we had left over here. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to group it and I'm going to call this roof. Oh, I have a call roof ready. I'm going to call this typical roof. And now this time we can do this from the roof deck level, because if we go on the first floor, we won't be able to see when we paste it. Let's go. Yes, roof deck is fine. Now, when I go to the roof deck, notice that I'm not seeing anything below. And the reason for that, I don't know if you guys remember from just recently. Can anybody tell me why I'm not seeing below?
Because the view is clipped, sir.
Not quite.
Is it the view range, sir?
The view range could help, but there is something even quicker than the view range. Because you don't want to mess with your view range unless you really want to change your floor plan. Come on, I just said it. Who remembers?
It is it the underlay, sir? Is it the underlay?
Yes, you are correct. It is indeed the underlay. Underlay is different from view range, guys. View range, you use that for more permanent adjustment. So for example, let's say you have some high level windows, right? You would use your view range to adjust your plan so that you can see those high level windows. But underlay is used almost as a temporary thing. Like, I just need to see the plan below, right? And if you realize when you go into your view range, it's much more complicated to edit. I mean, you know, you have all of these things to consider with your view range. But when you go to underlay, it has just one option. Just pick the level of the distance you want to see. So it's very simple. That's why it's used for those quick changes. So I would just select the road level as the lowest level, and then it would just show me everything below, which is fine. I'm not seeing the roof, and I need to go lower. Okay, maybe I need to go lower. So let me go all the way down to the basement. R is the roof above the I don't know. Look down. It is looking down.
I'm not seeing it, sir.
Okay, well, it's fine. I could use my site plan to see it. The default site plan view will always show everything naturally. It's already set up to do that. All right, so now all I need to do is click here, and then I go to my move tool, and I will just grab one corner of that, and I will just stick it over here. Okay, I'll just choose unjoin. It's just telling me that when I paste something here, it's going to unjoin something. I hope it's not anything detrimental. Now, what is happening, and the reason why it gave me that error, is if you look in your 3D view, you will notice that the roof is inside the ground floor level. So naturally, I will need to change the level of that group to my roof deck. And there you go. Okay, so let's go back to our site plan, since that showed me everything right off the bat. And all I need to do now is to mirror this. So I'm going to choose mirror. And there you go. So there you have it, guys. We have constructed this entire model just from one modular unit. Now, as you can imagine, if we decided to make a change to this, like let's say, for example, you wanted this molding to be thicker here. Well, I could make this one thicker. Click OK. And then, of course, Revit would just edit all the other floors. You have to give it a little while because it's like it's calculating. But there you go. Revit would edit all the other floors to make this one thicker here. And try and think how far down the line you could do this. So for example, if I really wanted to be super efficient, well, what I would do is that these moldings, I would also make these moldings a group and then duplicate them and then put that in another group. So when I edit one molding, all the moldings edit. So do you understand this concept, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I want to see you guys using some of these efficient ways of modeling in Revit, especially that you are doing a housing project where you're going to have multiple units duplicated. All right, now all you guys need to do once you have this model done is you can save it and you're going to take a screenshot. I'm going to put a link to the submission form. On the mirror board. Let me just copy that link real quick. Import. All right. There we go. Okay. So on our class board, we're going to say, oops, it's copied twice. When you are complete, submit Revit file and screen capture here. And I'll put that link. Will that open here? Let me see if it will open. No, I knew it wouldn't. That link, that type of link doesn't work in Mirrorboard. So I'll have to use a text. There we go. Good old text. All right, guys, everybody clear on what is to be done?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. I see you're answering on behalf of the class, so I hope everybody else is clear. All right, so you're gonna submit this
Sir,
file here.
I don't have the mirror link in, sir. So I can't.
Oh, the mirror link is on the class website. So when you go on the class site, it's right here.
Oh, okay, okay.
All right. So that is how you access this class activity, guys. Here it is. So we're going to have some of these class activities that pop up, and usually the class activities are targeted to things that you are doing now in your design studio. So, you know, as I said, they are random. So you will just come to class one day and there's a class activity. All right. I mean, it does count towards your grade, but it's way more valuable in terms of what it gives you. Because think of it as little tips and tricks that you can learn along the way. That would be especially useful in your design studio. All right, guys. So this has been modular workflow in Revit. And there are some other approaches to doing modular workflow. So we'll probably look at a few later down, right?
Sir, it's saying the file is too large to upload.
Oh, how big is my file? Is like about, oh, it's like it's a little over 10 megabytes. Oh, that's why. All right, no problem. No problem. All right, refresh and it should be good to go now. Yeah, Horace, you have a question? No, hold on. You just asked.
Yeah, just ask.
Right. Yeah, man. Yeah, let's refresh and you should be good to go now. So you're going to submit a screen clip and the file. You can give me a similar screen clip to what is here. But that's it for class today, guys. Short and spicy. Hope you guys learned something new and something useful that will help you out in your design studio. All right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, remember to check the grades for Theodore.
All right. Oh, no, it is, you mean for what you already submitted?
Yes, sir. There are no grades there for me, and the ID number isn't there either.
Oh, if it is not there, hold on, let me just double check to make sure that
It's the same for me, sir.
It might be that I just haven't marked, meaning I've already marked it and I haven't gone back to mark additional work. But let me just double check that. So,
Is it the foundation grade, sir?
Theodore, is it the what?
I was asking if it's the foundation work, because I'm not seeing that grade added to the class assignment too.
Oh, you mean on the grade sheet?
Yes, sir.
Oh, let's see. I would probably have to modify checkpoint 1, checkpoint 2. No, well, it's there, but you mean that you're not seeing your name there. Right. Let
Oh,
me see.
and I seen the added part of the part that was missing,
Oh,
sir.
yes,
You must
yes,
have,
yes, yes.
we have to submit the other part.
Yeah,
And
man.
that's just one part, sir.
Yeah, man, I haven't added that part yet. That's why.
Okay, that's
Right.
what I was trying. Fine.
Right.
That's good.
So Theodore,
Yes, sir.
last name Leslie.
You want the ID number again?
Hold on, you submitted the schematic.
Yes, sir. I submitted all due
All right.
assignments.
Oh, hold on. Are you not seeing your ID?
No, sir.
I'm seeing. Let me. I'm checking there. Give me a second. Let me check on it.
Sir, it's the same for Fairman as well. I'm not seeing my ID number or anything. And I've submitted everything.
Sir, also just a reminder to upload the recording, sir.
Oh. Okay. Say again.
Just a reminder to upload the recording, sir.
Right. By the way, I think it was before last week's class. I had gone through and updated all recording. So if you go to the recording section, you will notice everything should be there up to the class before this class. Up to this class. Well, this class isn't there yet because it's not done yet. All right.
Yes, sir.
If you, I believe I did get everything. If you think there's something missing, just let me know. So yeah, I will. As a matter of fact, let me stop this recording now, so that we don't need to. Question, sir.